Well, hello there, motherfuckers. It is time for your Walking Dead Season 6, Episode 8 review. And this was the mid-season finale episode. Things are a little bit better in this episode. Things are progressively getting a little bit better after the series hit a 3-episode snag of what I felt was complete boredom. The show even seemed a little bit bored with itself, to be quite honest. Now they seem to be hitting a stride once again. It was a good episode. The walkers finally got into Alexandria. We had a big swavel between Carl and Ron. Also, Carol and Morgan got into it. And they were both pretty good fights, and I like that the fight between Carol and Morgan. They were fighting basically over, killing the member of the Wolves that they were holding hostage, and he took Denise captive. And it kind of just showed that Carol is right all along. We should just follow what Carol says, and Carol's my favorite female character by far. Um, you know, that's just me. I know a lot of people like Maggie and stuff, but I have to say that Carol is a badass, and she's more ruthless than even Daryl. That's something I also wanted to say here about The Walking Dead. And I have expressed this if you guys have watched like my previous reviews and previous years of Walking Dead. My favorite character will always be Daryl Dixon, even though Rick seems to be the most emotionally involved character, and there's characters with a lot more depth. I like Daryl because he's the badass, and he is a deep character, you could tell, but they have not explored Daryl's psyche really at all, and they've really been cutting down on Daryl's screen time as of late. Really in the past year or so, we've been having sort of a Daryl drought, if you will. Just hasn't been there lately. Now he got robbed of all his shit. We saw that 2 episodes ago, and we didn't get a follow up. We'll probably get that next year when we get the next half of the season. But I can't help but feel that they should throw us a bone at least a little bit with Daryl at a time. I mean, he is one of the most popular characters among the cast. And to keep on, sidelining the guy is just, I don't know. I feel like they're considering Daryl to be a special character and they don't want to wear out his welcome, but it's to the point where they barely even show him anymore. And I get a little bit concerned about the future of the Daryl character. You know, perhaps deeming him, not exciting enough or not worthy of enough screen time. And, sometimes that could lead up to an eventual killing off of a character. I pray to God that doesn't fucking happen. I pray to the Robert Kirkmans of the world that does not fucking happen in this show. But yeah, there was no Daryl. There was Glenn at the end. We did see Glenn is joining up with the squad once again. In this episode, though, it had a sense of panic. The walkers were everywhere. They were bursting through windows, bursting through doors, fucking blocking them with couches and shit. I thought it was a great episode, and there was some progression in the story with, they have to get the fuck out of Alexandria now. And we did have a death, of course. It's a mid-season finale. Someone has to die, and it was Deanna, which we don't really care too much about. Deanna, pretty much the head of Alexandria. Um, she decided, well, they didn't show her death, but she got bit in the beginning of the episode, and she didn't want to be killed. She decided to do it on her own accord. Just as she's about to kill herself, walkers break into her house, and she just wastes all the bullets. So you could pretty much just assume that from that point on, she was ripped apart. And that led to her eventual death. So I like that. They didn't have to really show. You just knew what was going on, and she went out to fight her. But I don't really care too much about Deanna. No disrespect to the actress or anything. She did a fine job, but It's not really like if Glenn were to be dead or anybody like that from the main team. This is kind of like an outsider. She was never really one of the Walking Dead cast team, Rick's team, whatever you want to call it. With when someone dies from the squad like Reese or someone like that, then we're gonna care. But Deanna, well, this is kind of like an expendable character, I guess you could say. She just had to be there for the storyline in Alexandria, and that's about it. So now they're getting the fuck out of Alexandria finally, and it's back into the wilderness. And I can assume that they're gonna have some big fucking problems with the wolves. Probably run into Wade out there, and they're probably gonna run back into Abraham and Daryl. It's almost a sure thing. So I'm looking forward to the second part. This was a pretty good episode. There was a lot of panic, there was a lot of excitement. There was like a big frenzy in it. Something that the series definitely needed, a sense of urgency. That's kind of the term I'm looking for. Is an episode, that really spent a lot of time. And I was very happy that they just went with the normal 60-minute format here. 43 minutes, whatever it truly is. And they didn't go for 90-minute specials or anything like that. And that's the truth of the matter. I was really put off by that Morgan solo story. Them doing 90 minutes, it was definitely not necessary. As I said, and they definitely hit a snag for like 3 episodes. But I feel like they're back. I feel like they're raring to go again, and they escaped that snag, which I'm happy. They've hit it a couple of times throughout the series, which gets me nervous that they're gonna hit it for like a whole season. Well, season 2, but you get my point, guys. Yeah, The Walking Dead is not a perfect show. There hasn't been a perfect show ever. Breaking Bad, but there has, the every show has its faults, and Walking Dead does, and it's a good enough show where it could get by on having a couple of bad episodes, because then they always come back and they give us something good like this episode. Not a phenomenal episode, but it was pretty good and I enjoyed it. And there was enough storyline progression and character development, conflicts between characters to really keep things fresh and exciting headed into next season. So there you go. There's a review. And so I'll see you the next half of this season for the next half of this season's first episode review.